Hello, friends. Welcome back to GM Philosophy. I'm the GM Philosopher. Have you ever thought to yourself, I need an awesome NPC to give my adventurers a quest? I need to find some way to kick off this quest. Well, I have you covered because today we're reviewing some homebrewed NPC quest givers that were created in a contest in the GM Philosophy Discord. Link to that is in the description. If you want to grab the PDF downloadables for these NPCs, all you have to do is jump in the Discord, scroll on down to contest archives, click on it, and you'll find all of these there. But I'm going to react to them in this video. This contest was won by Dirty Socks 1990. Shout out to Big Dirty Socks. With his entry, Mother Ygritte. So first we're going to react to that, and then I'm going to cover the others. I think there were 6 entries in total, so let's dive in and talk about this. All right, let's first dive into the winner of this contest, Mother Ygritte, the Bone Keeper, created by Dirty Socks 1990. I just want to give a quick mention that the rules to this contest limited the entries to 2 pages. So that's why there's 2 pages of content in each entry, just for your information. All right, let's dive in. Down, through the crumbling catacombs and forgotten paths, the air turns colder. Stone gives way to bone, not stacked carelessly, but arranged with reverence. Vertebrae carved into archways, femurs forming colonnades, skulls staring with only peace from mosaic walls. There is no rot, no stench, only stillness and song. Wow, strong entry already. Faint music rides on the air, a haunting lullaby, the kind a mother might hum while brushing the hair of a child long dead. Oh my god. It echoes from no source, yet clings to the soul like a memory you never lived. Ghosts walk freely here, not howling banshees, but figures of grace and grief. So I'm imagining this is what you're reading to the players as they're approaching this NPC to get the quest. Some weep, some smile, some simply watch. Their whispers trail behind them like smoke, speaking in 100 tongues, old prayers, forgotten names, fragments of lives cut short. You step through a threshold made of ivory ribs, bent into an arch, and the sanctum reveals itself, a grand cathedral of bone. Soul candles flicker along the pews, their flames pale blue, casting light that feels more dream than fire. At the altar, where a heart should beat, there is a library. Scrolls bound in funeral wrappings, tomes sealed with blood and ash. This is very macabre. There is no temple. This is no temple of death. It is its archive, its sanctuary. And there she waits. A figure robed in robes the color of morning fog, her skeletal hands resting on the pommel of a staff, carved from petrified heartwood. A golden circlet crowns her brow, not a tyrant's diadem, but a relic, worn by one who has guided souls across centuries. Her eyes, or what remains of them, glow softly in her hollow sockets, like candlelight behind thin parchment. I'm wondering what she is. I'm thinking like some kind of undead creature. I was thinking a hag, but she sounds too like, I don't know, actually she does sound kind of like a hag. You've come far, she says, her voice like wind through autumn leaves, but not by accident. She steps forward and the ghosts part reverently, as though parting for a queen or a long-lost mother. This is actually really cool. Imagine like describing this and bringing your characters into this situation. That's already a lot of really cool, like evocative scenery. I am Ygritte, once of blood and breath, now of bone and burden. This sanctum is a haven, not a tomb. You are safe here, so long as you respect the silence and the truth. Okay, that's good. She gestures to the spirits, the soul candles, the tomes behind her. The dead have stories yet to tell, and you may be the ones to carry them forward. Okay, all right, so here we go. Description. A lich. Oh, she's a lich. A lich unlike any other. Not driven by power, but by compassion and remembrance. Mother Ygritte appears as a regal figure in faded mourning robes, her skull crowned with a delicate gold circlet. Hollow eye sockets glow with gentle, salty warmth. Her voice is soft, resonant, always just above a whisper, as though she speaks through memory rather than air. I wonder if she's like a lich of a human or of an elf. Sounds kind of like elvish to me, but anyway. Backstory. Oh, here we go. Once a feared lich queen known as Ygritte the Withering, she ruled over a necropolis fueled by cruelty and domination. Her phylactery was shattered in a divine assault, but instead of annihilation, she was offered something stranger, Awareness. A cleric's final act of mercy gave her fragmented soul a chance to change, not to live again, but to remember and regret. Now she serves as the Bone Keeper, a guardian of lost spirits and restless dead, helping them reclaim their stories or pass on. Her power remains vast, but she uses it with restraint and reverence. Oh, that's a really cool twist. So she's kind of a good lich. Interesting. Okay, roleplay notes, personality traits. Tone. Calm, haunting, sorrowful, yet patient, empathetic, and oddly warm. Speaks in poetic or ritualistic cadence. Personality. Caretaker of the dead, giving them a voice and a choice. Seeks to preserve memory and dignity across all cultures. May protect even monstrous spirits if they show remorse, and may oppose the living if they desecrate the dead. Philosophy. Death is not evil. It is a threshold deserving reverence. Forgetting who you were, that is true death. I like that. It's kind of existentially dreadful. Boundaries. Will not tolerate desecration or mockery of the dead. Becomes cold and commanding if tested. Okay. So I like this. This is giving me a lot of fuel to roleplay this character. Like I could totally see running this NPC for my group. Like I could read this and probably within, 3 minutes afterwards, I'd be ready to roll. So great notes on that as far as like notes for an NPC. Motivations and goals. Help the living understand death and their place within its cycle. Keep the secrets of the dead safe until they must be revealed. Empower worthy mortals to act as intermediaries between worlds. Boons and rewards. Ritual access. The party may use rare rituals with her, e.g. resurrection at no material cost, but a memory sacrifice. Oh, Whispers of the Dead. Once per day, consult a spirit for advantage on one history or insight check. Okay. Grave boon at high trust. Party can enter the spirit realm for a limited time with a soul anchor, gaining unique boons but attracting ethereal predators. That's cool. That's like a whole session arc. They could do an adventure in the spirit realm. DM notes. Use her to deliver exposition from the dead or lost civilizations. She never lies, but always speaks in double meaning. Let players interpret. A great tool for character backstory requests, lost knowledge, or resting between grim adventures. Between grim adventures? Like this isn't a grim scene. She can never leave the sanctum. Her soul is tethered to the spirits she protects. Okay. Now we're moving on to page number 2, quests and story arcs. Quest structure. Mother Ygritte offers quests themed around death, memory, and spirit world. She rarely gives direct answers. Her quests are meant to teach. Quest examples. Echo of the Fallen. A ghost refuses to pass on, corrupted by vengeance. Help reconcile its soul before it becomes a wraith. Borrowed time. A player may undertake a ritual to speak with a dead loved one, but something follows them back. Ooh, that's cool. I like that one. The Shroudbreaker arc quest. Recover a shattered relic that can sever souls. She fears it will be used to erase rather than free. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so there's some story arcs here too. Quest arc plot 1, Veilbound Vow. Help Mother Ygritte restore the ossuary sanctum by recruiting 5 unique NPCs. Each shapes the sanctum, improving it, challenging it, potentially dooming it. Plot hook summary. Chapter 1, The Last Lament. Spirits' wails disrupt the sanctum's work. Seek out Aelam Morvain, a spirit singer who can calm the dead with song. Chapter 2, The Ledger and the Flame. A meticulous cleric arrives to officially catalog and sanctify the sanctum's archives, but questions Ygritte's lichdom. It's understandable. Chapter 3, The Forgotten Fang. A living tome cries for missing pages, leading to a cursed tabaxi tomb scavenger who may have them. Oh, interesting. Chapter 4, The Flesh of Memory. A bone-crafting gnome in a necromantic bazaar could rebuild the sanctum's collapsed wing if convinced his work is welcome. Oh, that's cool. That's kind of funny. Chapter 5, The Final Thesis. A scholar bearing a controversial treatise on lichdom seeks debate with Ygritte, setting the stage for an ethical reckoning. That's interesting. That's actually very interesting. I wonder... I would love to see how a GM would bring the players into that and not make it like an NPC thing. I think that'd be super cool. Final, The Severance Rite. A ritual that could free, cement, or destroy Ygritte depending on the party's choice and trust. And then there's a Sanctum Trust tiers progression system, a trust progression system. 1, Ashen Beginnings, flickering soul candles, unstable wards, player access, basic rituals, minimal spirit interaction. Ygritte's disposition is weary and guarded. Oh, so it goes through all the trusting levels. So tier number 2 is Veil Stirred. Spirits are more stable. Ghosts speak clearly. Player access. access to personal memories, minor rights, and then Ygritte is trusting and instructive. Tier 3 is the archive is awakened, the library expands, living tomes activate. Player access, they get access to new tomes, unlocked, ghost visions, and then Ygritte's disposition is openly collaborative. We have Tier 4, death and balance. New NPCs help stabilize, spread her work. Players gain access to advanced rituals, spirit negotiations, and then Ygritte's disposition is conflicted, reflective, so they're kind of getting an inside look. And then we have Tier 5, threshold of peace. Sanctum state, sanctum complete or breaking, I guess depending on the storyline. Player access to final rights, world altering rituals, and then Ygritte's disposition is poised for legacy or release. Okay, interesting. It's interesting how those are worded. They do make sense. So that was quest arc plot 1, and then here's quest arc plot 2. Help Mother Ygritte reclaim phylactery fragments stolen by rogue necromancers, each powering an abandoned abomination and echoing a piece of who she used to be, and decide if she should be made whole again or left incomplete. Ygritte's trying to come back. It's actually pretty fun. Quest structure, 3 arcs, each tied to a location where a necromancer wields a phylactery fragment, an abomination echoing old Ygritte's past ideals, a wraith memory, spectral vision of that self, a choice, recover, destroy, or keep the fragment, fragments and abominations. Each fragment embodies a former ideology of Ygritte and spawns an abomination in its image. This is supposed to be an NPC quest giver, but this could actually be made into an entire campaign, to be super honest. It really could be. There's a lot here, a lot of information, which is good. I could totally see this actually being made into a whole campaign, like a whole, at least 10 levels. You could totally run 10 levels, especially if the group is expected to kind of like set up their base or build their base next to like her sanctum or whatever, and then they are going there and they're gonna like rebuild the broken wing and all these things. That's really actually really good idea. Fragment 1, Doctrine of Control. Location, Spine Tower of Varnak, Cursed Mountain Keep. Okay, that's cool. Necromancer, Arvin Grelt, Puppeteer of Bones. Oh my god. Abomination, Dread Choir. Fused mummified singers bound by iron wires, psychic song charms and suppresses will, lamenting their stolen freedom. Okay. Wraith Memory, Ygritte the Conductor, elegant, cruel, preaches control as mercy. Interesting. So it's like a wraith memory of Ygritte. So they kind of have to face a wraith memory of her. Fragment number 2, Gospel of Terror. Location, ruins of Greythorn Asylum. Asylum. Necromancer, Vexadriel, Scourge Prophetess. Abomination, Bleeding Seraph, flayed, many-winged, radiates madness, cries acid blood that animates corpses. Jeez. Wraith Memory, Ygritte the Revelator, skeletal burned wings, claims terror is truth. That's actually metal. Fragment 3, Immortality at any cost. Location, Caverns of the Womb Tomb. The Womb Tomb. Necromancer, Malthrax the Undying Seed. Abomination, Famine Matron, towering maternal construct, absorbs life to birth parasitic waits, speaks comfortingly. What? Oh, whites. Absorbs life to birth parasitic whites. Oh, I read that wrong. I was like, why waits? Wraith Memory, Ygritte the Cradle, nurturing yet monstrous, offers undeath as liberation from life's prison. Okay. Final act, The Binding Crucible. With all fragments, players reach the crucible beneath the ossuary. Choices, merge into Ygritte, risk full personality restoration, bury forever, deny resolution but secure them, claim power, inherit tainted necromancy, shatter, unleash spiritual backlash, hauntings, ghost surges, undead plagues. All outcomes reshape the world. So that's like a big thing. A Song of the Lost Souls. They seem to sing the same song over and over again. Are you singing along? Mother, bind our bones. O Mother, O Hallow, O Keeper of thread, we follow the path where the living have bled. Bind us, marrow to mind. We are the flesh you have chosen to bind. O Mother, your womb is the tomb. We bloom in your shadow. We bloom in your gloom. That's actually really crazy. All right. So this is really cool. It's very in-depth. In 2 pages, you actually have enough outline for a legitimate campaign, much less just one adventure between adventures. There's almost no way you could run through all of this in 1 or even 2 or 3 sessions. So I understand that you're probably not, you don't have to use all of it, but there's a lot of interesting stuff here. So really super cool. Dirty Socks crushed it with this one. Obviously, super awesome. Yeah, boom, awesome. I love it. Definitely can see why this won the contest. Super in depth. Yeah, and if you want to download this, like I said, just jump in the Discord, links in the description, and if you go to the contest archive section, all of the entries from all past contests are stored there, so you can grab them. There's all kinds of stuff in there, all kinds of cool homebrew stuff that people in the community have made. So awesome. Let's go now to Roger Pencil, front desk clerk at the Adventure Guild by DougDingle. All right, let's get into it. There's nothing wrong with Roger Pencil. He's a quiet little man from a quiet little town. While he's not one for the business of adventuring himself, he makes his living by being adventure adjacent. He works and has worked for several years as the front desk clerk of the Adventure Guild. The guild is situated in a well-kept stone building, unlocked every day at 8 a.m. sharp by Roger. He's never late and he's never early. All paperwork is tidy and all instruments of documentation are organized. Nothing is ever out of place, especially Mr. Pencil. He takes great care in his appearance. His trousers are precisely creased, his shirt is flawlessly ironed, and his shoes are immaculately shined. Sounds like the person I want to be when I grow up. Roger has a very level and monotone voice. Too loud scares new patrons. Too quiet creates the potential for instructions to be misheard. Roger speaks in a way that maximizes the efficient transfer of information. Nothing more, nothing less. The Adventure Guild offers quests to adventuring groups by tiered level: copper, silver, gold, electrum, and platinum. It is Roger Pencil's job to distribute these quests and to verify the group is requesting a job at an appropriate level. When a quest is given, Roger stamps the appropriate paperwork and authorizing the group's claim to the quest, and upon completion stamps the appropriate paperwork authorizing payment by the third party. With every firm and measured stamp, he cannot help but quickly envision himself on these various adventures before his fleeting and childish whims fade and he recovers his better sense. Sounds like a hobbit. So here's an example application. It looks like an application for a quest to collect 3 outstanding debts, copper level. Roger's fingers deftly pluck a stamp from the open drawer to seal the steel. Efficient as ever. Approved. A new band of adventurers apply to retrieve a wizard spellbook stolen by a rival mage. Gold level. Prerequisites not met, and they don't appear to have the proper weaponry. Denied. This is so funny. A solo adventurer requests the assignment of retrieving secret documents by infiltrating a well-known noble's gala for foreign dignitaries. Platinum level. Even with a dozen silver and gold level successes prior, this one will need to go up the ladder to the regional office for approval. Pending. This is so good. It's so funny. I love it. Roger could never engage in such rash impulses himself. Adventures are for the young, or ones with nothing to lose. It's so funny. At the end of the workday, he locks up precisely at 6 p.m., never early and never late. He makes the short walk back to his quaint little house at the edge of town, enjoys his simple dinner alone, washes his plate, waters his plants, and then goes to bed promptly by 9 p.m., never early, never late. The transient adventurers that pass through his doors are as close as Roger Pencil will ever get to an adventure of his own, but there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with Roger Pencil. Interesting. And then here's an Adventure Guild, group name, level, quest bounty, issuing office, guild representative, Roger Pencil. So that must be the stamp, or at least that's the label he uses, I guess, or whatever. Okay, so this is actually really cool. A lot shorter than Dirty Socks' entry, but this is interesting because I'm already, like, if I were to take this and run it in my campaign, I would be thinking, okay, there's nothing wrong with Roger Pencil. That's how it starts, and then it ends with there's nothing wrong with Roger Pencil. There's kind of an eloquent poetry to this, and it makes me think there's a lot more to Roger Pencil. Like there's some secret about him that the players don't know, and that maybe it's not even told. Obviously, I feel like though there's something hinted at here. It's like a secret life that Roger Pencil lives, or maybe one day his world is thrown topsy-turvy when he actually goes on an adventure. Like I'm just imagining him locking up and then adventurers coming up to him and being like, Roger Pencil, we need your help. We need to go on this quest, and we heard that it's being run through your guild. We have to be the ones to do it. And he's like, oh, we're closing at 6, but maybe they talk him into letting them in, and this and that. And it sounds like it could be actually the beginning of an interesting NPC joining along with them, and then Roger has to battle his sense of like wanting things a certain way versus the chaos of adventure. But this is maybe just me thinking too deep into it. Anyway, awesome entry, DougDingle. And I must say that Dirty Socks actually messaged me and personally wanted to make sure I was going to react to this one in the video because he thought it was so good. But anyway, so boom, love it. I can see why. I always love the stuff DougDingle makes. He always makes awesome stuff, makes me laugh. And this is actually interestingly poetic and very pretty, even just as a piece of written work. So well done on that. Well done. Next, I'm going to share an entry by Avery Juno called Hedymeles, Male Satyr. And so let's just dive into this. I have no idea what this is. Hedymeles is a boisterous, wine-loving satyr who spends his days playing his reed pipe, dancing beneath the moon, and meddling in mortal affairs. Every time I think of a satyr, I think of Chronicles of Narnia. But anyway, for Mr. Tumnus. Anyway, though mischievous, he isn't malicious. He just delights in riddles, bargains, and testing the resourcefulness of adventurers, that's all. Teaching them valuable life lessons isn't a bad thing, is it? The satyr is often heard saying. He does sound mischievous. Hedymeles appears draped in grapevines, with curling ram's horns and a perpetually sly grin. He approaches the party somewhere the air feels unnaturally heavy, claiming something of his has been stolen, or rather 3 somethings. Part 1 is Stolen Cup. Okay, this is a quest. Hedymeles' pure silver drinking horn, gifted to him by a forgotten deity centuries ago, has been stolen by local highwaymen. Without it, he cannot perform the libation rituals that keep the grove fertile. The party must track the thieves, outwit their traps, and return the horn. Complication: the bandits believe the horn is cursed and may try to trick the party into keeping it. And then we move on to part 2, which is page 2, and the broken song. The satyr's enchanted pipe of harmony is cracked after being caught in a feud between river spirits. Hedymeles tasks the party with reconciling the quarreling spirits so they will heal the pipe. The party must negotiate, solve riddles, or perform tasks for both sides, e.g. removing a pollutant, catching a wayward fish spirit, or balancing offerings. The challenge is social and creative, not combat focused. So I'm already catching a vibe on this one that is like this satyr keeps asking for more, and it's almost like one of those quests where it's like you keep pushing and pushing the group, and then you're just kind of thinking to yourself, when are they going to crack? When are they going to say, we've had enough of this? You know, it's kind of funny. I don't know if this was designed to be that way, but that's the vibe I'm getting from it. And those are kind of fun. Sometimes it's really fun and almost a little comical, but it can also be serious. Like you're waiting for the shoe to drop, like for the party's shoe to drop. It's like, when are they going to put their foot down and say, all right, enough of this nonsense? Anyway, part 3, the Fading Grove. With horn and pipe restored, Hedymeles reveals the grove itself is dying because its guardian stone has been stolen by a nearby hag. Oh, it got dark quick. The party must brave her lair, overcome enchantments, and retrieve the heartstone of the grove. This is like 3 sessions worth of stuff almost. The hag may bargain, offering twisted deals to tempt the heroes. Conclusion: once all 3 pieces are restored, Hedymeles performs a moonlit ritual of wine, song, and dance, bringing life back to the grove and kicking off a grand celebration. As thanks, he grants the party a blessing of revelry. For the next year, whenever they share a drink or meal with strangers, they gain advantage on their first social interaction. It's actually a pretty good blessing. Actually, pretty cool, especially if you're playing a bard or someone like that. And where you care about those types of things. Fighters may not care so much. Barbarians probably couldn't give a rip, but that's actually a cool blessing. All right, so this was short and sweet in delivery. However, it opens up quite a bit of adventuring material. If you introduce this NPC and you actually follow this outline, it's super possible you could run 3 or more sessions about this, especially if some of the adventures kind of like get long-winded, which is not a bad thing. I always try to think of these things as like, don't push it, don't rush it. If the party wants to spend 4 sessions on the Stolen Cup, let them do it. Let them do what they want to do, right? I'm not going to be trying to rush them through it because it's like, oh, I want to get to the next plot point. So things like this can open up that choice, whether you want to try to rush players through it or whether you want to just slow down, take your time, and let them explore it. Because sometimes quests like this give players a lot of basically creative inspiration. And so for that reason, I love this. I love the basic outline that gives the GM lots of information to fill in. I think the NPC is cool. Hedymeles. I think that This is probably the type of adventure that if you set it up well and you really kind of role play through them getting to know the satyr, and then if you can kind of get one or two of them to like him or at least think he's interesting, then it's probably going to turn into like a 3, 4, 5 session arc, which is super awesome. So great job, Avery. Love it. Now, before we move on to the final 2 NPC quest givers of this batch, I just want to let you know that we've released a new and improved version of the 10-minute GM Mastery book. This book contains the top 10 GM tips that I've learned through my 20 plus years of TTRPG gaming, and it is available for free. Link is down in the description. If you would like to level up your game with a 10-minute read, this book will help you to do it. We offer this to help further our mission, which is to empower game masters to run better games. So boom, grab that and smash that subscribe button. We would love to have you back. All right, let's move on to the next amazing NPC quest giver, Ghost Baby by Kevin Rigatoni. All right, so this one is a bit lengthier, lots to work with here. Super pumped to get into this. Ghost Baby, Thurston Winston Farnsworth Peabody McGlure by Kevin Rigatoni with a rocking horse. I don't know whether this is creepy or like cartoony. So let's take a look and see. Thurston Winston Farnsworth Peabody McGlure was a small boy from a quaint town with a large family that lived on a palatial estate. And though he had 7 siblings, he had no one to play with. With tiny hands, he played grand games in his extraordinary imagination. Very best friend, a little baby doll named Bartholomew Huggins. Okay, I think this is going in a creepy direction. His family acquired their considerable wealth and elite status through dubious means, with rather few scruples to note. This left them many more enemies than it did friends, and indeed, many more wishing them harm than wished them well. And so it came to pass, inevitably, it seems to us now, that while young Thurston played with Bartholomew and his hobby horses and spinning tops, those enemies his father had early earned descended upon the family estate and let their displeasure be known through violent means. Oh, so this is like an origin story for a creepy child who gives quests. This is what I'm catching up on so far. As the drama unfolded in a hotly contested match of pick-up sticks between Thurston and the steady-handed Bartholomew, drama likewise began to unfold at the gates of the Farnsworth Peabody McGlure estate, the aggrieved arriving in great number. The loud crashes, the rumbling, the clattering, and the yelling all served to color the imaginative backdrop of the Pick-Up Sticks World Championship that engrossed Thurston. So this is really good writing. Really obviously good writing here. Very well done. So engaged was he that even as the sounds of his fanciful spectators subsided, the shambles that replaced his family's once opulently appointed manor, the slippery crimson on the marble floors, and the gore now obscuring the faces of servants, aunts, uncles, cousins, siblings, and his parents, all were explained away in his cocoon of protective reverie. So this boy is like, I don't know if you'd call him gifted or already creepy, but anyway. And even as the air grew thick with smoke and the colors took on an orange hue at the edges of his daydream, he played on. Wow. The writing in this is really good. Really good writing. I'm impressed by the writing. But in his final moments, as his pickup sticks first curled and sang, then finally went up in flames, his mind flipped somewhere closer to the reality of the situation, leaving him with his final panicked thought. Where is Bartholomew Huggins? Oh my God. Today, almost 100 years hence, Thurston Winston Farnsworth Peabody McGlure continues to play from the other side. His hands still tiny, his game still grand, his imagination still extraordinary, and Bartholomew Huggins still missing. Only remnants of the glittering estate that once stood remain. Some of the walls of various buildings integrated into the city block that has taken its place. Thurston, now Ghost Baby, continues his games in sprawling underground corridors that once connected the manor to the servants' quarters, guest houses, kitchens, stockrooms, and stables. The corridors that now comprise the very dungeon upon whose threshold your adventures stand today. Oh, I get it. Okay, so this is why there's like kind of children's things, but it's also creepy. It's a creepy child. There's nothing creepier than a creepy child. Scenario. Your adventurers will meet Ghost Baby, the tragic Thurston Winston Farnsworth Peabody McGlure, without his dear friend in a series of 3 encounters. The first near the entrance, the second somewhere in the heart of the crawl, and the third and final encounter just before the finish line. While the dungeon itself, its history, its use and occupants, and the time since it was filled with bustling servants of the Farnsworth Peabody McGlure family is up to you. Perhaps there will be found remnants of the child that once played, and still does, in those halls and the family that once owned the sprawling estate, perhaps even visions of the mangled remains of the servants once under the employ, although by now I'd imagine they're like bones, maybe scattered about by animals and such. The encounters with Ghost Baby and the games they will play affect the conditions of the dungeon, and subsequent encounters are impacted by the previous ones. The capricious Thurston never did like to lose, and without the calming influence of the serene Bartholomew Huggins, is quite easily agitated. Game idea: hoop trundling. The object is to see who can keep their hoop rolling along the longest using only a stick. You and your opponent roll a 1d6 simultaneously for each round. Roll a 1 and your hoop wobbles. In subsequent rounds, after your first wobble, both 1 and 2 will wobble your hoop. After the second wobble, now a 1, 2, and 3 will cause a wobble. Then 1 and 4 to cause your fourth wobble. And finally, anything but a 6 will cause your hoop to fall over. The last hoop rolling wins. That's super interesting, although I think I would love to see the game adjusted slightly to where Dex modifier plays a role, where maybe athletics plays a role. But anyway, super interesting. So this is almost less a quest giver and more like a dungeon and almost like a figure in the dungeon is what this is striking me as. But I'm assuming you're getting quests from the baby ghost. We will continue on page 2 to find out. Encounters. Meeting Ghost Baby. Shortly after entering the dimly lit dungeon, a slight glimmer appears in the distance as chatter and laughing and crying can be heard all at once. As your party approaches, the dungeon's torches all go out, and the glimmer takes the form of a small child, the Ghost Baby. He mutters to himself, a voice that is at times very present and at times very distant, sounding as though it straddles realms as much as it straddles sanity. Ghost Baby is giddy with excitement at potential playmates. As he talks, though, it is hard to tell if he is talking to the party or to himself. He reveals clues to his past and alludes to his dear friend, whom he has missed for a very, very long time. Snapping back to the present, he asks the party if anyone would like to play a game. This time, it is clear he is not talking to himself as he waits for a reply. 1. No takers. He pouts and cries, vanishing, and only half of the dungeon's torches return a light. 2. Challenger accepts and wins. Same result as above, but this time he points the party in the right direction. 3. Challenger accepts and loses. Ghost Baby squeals with delight and happily points the party in the right direction as all the lights return and says, "Ooh, I can't wait to play again." Oh, that's interesting. I feel like the players would probably think that's a surprise. They'd probably be thinking they have to win. Terrible twos. Oh my god. Somewhere in a room in the heart of the dungeon, a similar scene occurs as the party approaches, and whatever remains of the lights go out once again. Now Ghost Baby's demeanor is dependent on the result of the last game, and he issues another challenge. A light patter of footsteps and grunting can be heard, but it's unclear if that is part of the apparition. Again, he waits to see who will play, also lamenting, "I do very much wish Bartholomew Huggins was here to play with us." So option 1, no takers. He is furious and performs horrifying visage on the party, and an attack from beasts roaming in the dungeon ensues. 1 round of combat takes place in the dark, then half the lights return. Oh my god. Challenger accepts and wins. He pouts and cries before vanishing, and only half the dungeon's torches return a light, just as the dungeon beasts attack. Oh, so it's like it's still bad, but not as bad. He doesn't join the attack. And then 3, Challenger accepts and loses. Ghost Baby jumps and claps and smiles wide with unnerving glee. He warns the party of the closing beasts as all torches relight and performs Withering Touch on 2 of the approaching beasts as they enter to aid the party before combat commences. So it's like this kid wants to win. And then finally, it's been fun. As the party approaches the dungeon's exit, the scene repeats. And again, his attitude is largely dependent on how your encounters went previously. He may be muttering and crying and spitting with fury, overjoyed to see his playmates, or somewhere in between. Looking at the results of the last encounters, if 1 and 1, 1 and 2, or 2 and 1, then combat ensues with Ghost Baby. Quest A is given upon victory. 2 and 2, then a challenge for final game is issued. If no takers or challenger accepts and wins, then combat ensues with Ghost Baby. Quest A is given upon victory. 2 and 3 or 3 and 2, then a challenge for a final game is issued. So this is like a flowchart. This is actually really cool. If no takers, then combat ensues with the Ghost Baby. Quest A is given upon victory. If challenger accepts and wins, Ghost Baby is sad but grateful for playmates. Quest A is given. If challenger accepts and loses, then the party is adored by Ghost Baby. Quest B is given. 3 and 3, then the party is adored by Ghost Baby, and Quest B is given. The quest. Ghost Baby has finally had a chance to play with real playmates, but he still misses his best friend. His beloved Bartholomew Huggins must be found for his soul to rest. Ghost Baby still senses Bartholomew somewhere in the area of his family's estate, and its ruins now sewn into the city above the dungeon just traversed. I guess so these are the quests. A. Ghost Baby curses the last challenger who suffered his same fiery fate, with their soul destined to play with him for eternity within these dungeon walls. If Bartholomew Huggins is not found, to return to him in 3 days' time. Or B. Ghost Baby gushes about the great fun he's had with you, his new friends, his great friends. He offers a tremendous reward to the party in exchange for returning Bartholomew Huggins to his side in 3 days' time. Okay. So this is both a backstory for an interesting, almost like monster. I wouldn't even call this, I mean, it's an NPC, obviously, but it's almost like a villain or a monster. It's like a creature, really, because it's a ghost. It's like an undead creature, actually. So it's like an origin story. It's also a dungeon, and it has an outline, now not for the dungeon itself, but for the adventure of the dungeon. And it also then, at the finality of the dungeon, it gives you the quest, which is interesting. I think this is very similar to Avery's, like the satyr entry. Although in that entry, it was like the quest is that the satyr has this adventure for you to go on. But in this one, it's more like you go on an adventure and then you get the quest as a consequence of the adventure. So at the end of the day, I really like this entry. I like this NPC, and I like this quest idea. I really like the idea of finding Bartholomew Huggins. I do believe that like, since this is so like flowchart based, I think that it would be kind of on the game master to put the emotional elements into that. Like, I feel like this could be really ramped up emotionally, and I have to give Kevin Rigatoni props for making such potentially emotionally evocative NPC here in the Ghost Boy, with obviously his tragic past. There could be like, scenes from the past or something. Maybe they encounter some memory ghosts, or they, basically run into stories of kind of like a corpse killing story or something like that. Like, you could really make it emotionally evocative and kind of sad. And so I think that there exists potential to make this a very hard hitting NPC giving a quest. So boom, great job, Kevin Rigatoni. You did a lot with 2 pages, and you basically set the scene for what could be a really awesome, not only dungeon, but then quest to follow, which is really fun. And there's really, those details are up to the GM. So I love it. Super awesome. All right, let's move on to our final NPC quest giver, Betty the Wall. So Betty the Wall by CursingDwarf. CursingDwarf has made pretty awesome stuff in the Discord before, so it's awesome to see an entry by CursingDwarf here. Let's get into this NPC quest giver. So appearance, 52 years old, 5 foot, short hair that is just about shoulder length, once brown, now gray from age. Her face is a scar across her forehead from an old wound. Dark brown leather armor with colorful patches of yarn stitched over the holes and cuts, a crossbow slung across her back, and a spear in her hand. Small and appearing frail. Personality. Soft, sweet grandmotherly voice when she speaks to people. When all is well, turns stern, loud, and firm in times of need. She follows every law by the letter. If there is discrepancy of intention in how it was written, she follows how the law was written. So lawful, basically. She chastises the guards that dare slack off in her presence. Family connections. Simon, 26, son, dad. Alora, 25, daughter-in-law, dad. What? Martin, 8, grandson, living with her. Okay, wow, most of her family is dead. Backstory. She worked as a tavern cook for 30 years, dealing with drunkards and restoring order to those, and stepped over the line with some of the younger, prettier staff. 9 years ago, a bugbear unified the 7 goblin tribes near Gloom Hollow and attacked the town. A large number of the town guards fell, including Simon, that was a newly appointed squad leader of Unit 6. They fought in the town center as the last line of defense before the women and children of the town. After he was killed, Betty ran to him and took up the line. 12 other women stood by her side. They managed to hold a small choke point until other units arrived to chase off the invaders. So we're basically reading the backstory of the NPC quest giver, Betty, which sounds like these days, she's actually a leader of the guard in the city, probably because of this story. She was left with 2 stab wounds in her side and a cut across her forehead. The other women were left in much the same. They burned the fallen in a ceremony the following day. Her hand remained firmly on the spear, and she used it for a walking stick for the next year. Speculation was that she was still frightened of the goblins returning. Others believe she couldn't let her son go. Alara gave birth to Simon's son just before winter, but due to complications passed shortly after. Betty took her grandson and raised him as she did Simon. Once he became old enough to be left with the other women of town, she took up work as a guard. She was met with laughter and mockery from a few of the younger guards, but was cut short by those that saw her fight years prior. Her training was long and difficult. She found herself outmatched in weight and strength and resorted to underhanded tactics. Over time, she earned her place as a squad leader. While the captain of the watch was deciding what unit she would control over, she made a request. She asked to have Unit 6, even though the unit numbers of the teams killed off were retired after the goblin attack on us as a small tribute to the fallen guards. Okay, so that's the first page. So we're still going over backstory here, but so far this, so you're getting an idea about what kind of character Betty is, which is really awesome. Actually, CursingDwarf gave a lot of information here that would facilitate better role playing the character as an NPC and helping to understand who this character is. So really awesome on that. Let's move on to page number 2. The old captain looked at her, seeing she would accept no other posting. Unit 6 was retired, so no guards were assigned. But shortly after she took command, guards from other units she had fought during training asked for transfer. So the guards love her. They're coming here. They trust her, right? Because of her sacrifice, and she proved herself during the battle. And here's the unit number and guard locations. So morning, 3 guard captain unit, archer towers along the walls. 6, Betty's hellhounds, the main street of the town and town center. She has hellhounds, oh my god. 10 unit, the wall and gates. 11 unit, East Street. 12 unit, West Street. Okay, I see. Or is it 6 Betty's hellhounds? Are the guards the hellhounds, or does she actually have hellhounds? Knight, 13 unit, Archer Tower. 14 unit, Main Street and Town Center. 15 unit, the Wall and Gates. 16 unit, East Street. 17 unit, West Street. Quest lines, 1d4. Wolves are attacking nearby livestock. Or 2, strange coins in the market. 3, teen caught with a bag. 4, lights in the graveyard. Wow, actually, those are all cool quest lines. Strange coins in the market is interesting. That's a super, that comes out of left field. I like that quest line. I would probably hand pick that one if I were running this. More quest information. 1, wolves are attacking a nearby farm, killing the livestock. When you investigate, you find that dire wolf has taken control of a wolf pack. If you track them to their den, you will find dire wolf cubs the size of regular wolves still living off their mother's milk. So they're going to get big, big, big. I like that. I like my dire wolves big and nasty. Number 2, coins were used to purchase some items in the market. After infestation, you find it is a coin minted by goblins with their leader's tooth on one side and sword on the other. If they find the man that has the coins, they find out the location of the goblin clan in their newly built city. Oh, the goblins are coming back. Number 3, a teen is caught with a strange mushroom that causes hallucinations. They need to discover the person dealing and find out where they're getting their supply. There's not a little village under this village full of mushroom people who sell hallucinogens to make a profit, is it? I've literally run that before. That's been a quest I've had before. Number 4, ghosts are waking at night because something's causing them unrest. The goblins can be the cause, or some of the guards that died 9 years ago were not fully burned and a necromancer took parts of their bodies. Necromancers. In case of death, if Betty dies, she will turn into one of 2 spirits. If her grandson is dead, she will turn into a revenant, and if he is still living, she will turn into a celestial guardian. Okay, so basically that's the quest giver, and these are the quests. The rest is open-ended to the GM. So overall, my thoughts on Betty the Wall by CursingDwarf are this. I think this is a super solid NPC quest giver. I mean, you could easily insert this into any setting. The characters come into a city or a village. It could be a large city. It could be kind of a small village. You could also like scale this down so that it's more of a smaller village thing. And she's the head of the guard, the local peacekeeper, whatever. And you could throw this into any size campaign, really at any level, to be super honest. Really big props to CursingDwarf for making this super accessible. Like, this feels like it would be very easy to just take and throw in there. I'm not saying that the others wouldn't be as well, but some of them do require a bit more specific stuff, whereas this kind of just requires a village or a city of some kind, and then you could just throw this in there. It would also help you to piece together the part of the story of the city where there's guards and, there's this lore, and then there's the goblins. Who doesn't love some goblins? So simple, Straightforward, as they say in Rick and Morty, classic adventure, a classic Rick and Morty adventure. Well, in this case, this is a classic D&D adventure. Love it, Cursing Dwarf. Super awesome. Great way to wrap it up. And that's going to be a wrap for this video. Thank you very much for coming back and watching my take on these NPC quest givers. Once again, if you want to get the PDFs to download these yourself, link is in the Discord. You have to join our Discord, and then if you go to the contest archives channel, you will easily find these. You can click on them, download them, and boom, you'll be good to go. Thank you so much for coming back for another episode of Gym Philosophy in the Morning. I'll see you awesome people on the next one.